My dear fellow, Gwendolen is my first cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, you're going to have to answer the whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What do you mean? What do you mean, how to buy Cecily? I don't know anyone in the name of Cecily.
Bring me that cigarette case Mr. Worthing left in the smoking room the last time he dined here.
Yes, sir.
Do you mean to say you had my cigarette case all this time? I wish to goodness you had let me know. I've been writing frantic letters to Scotland Yard about it. I was very nearly offering a large reward.
Well, I wish you would offer one. I happen to be more than usually hard up.
It's no good offering a large reward now that the ring is found.
I think that is rather mean of you, Ernest, I must say. However, it makes no matter. For now that I look at the inscription inside, it turns out the thing isn't yours after all.
Of course it's mine. You've seen it with me 100 times. And you have no reason whatsoever to read what's written inside. It's a very ungentlemanly thing to read a private cigarette case.
Oh, I think it is absurd to have a hard and fast rule about what one should read and what one shouldn't. Half of modern culture depends on what one shouldn't read.
I'm quite aware of the fact, and I don't propose to discuss modern culture. I simply want my cigarette case back.
Yes. But this isn't your cigarette case. This cigarette case is a present from someone of the name of Cecily, and you said you didn't know anyone of that name.
Well, if you want to know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes. Charming old lady she is too. Lives at Tunbridge Wells. Just give it back to me, Algie.
But why does she call herself Little Cecily if she is your aunt and lives at Tunbridge Wells? From Little Cecily, with her fondest love.
Okay, right. Gwendolen.
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
You know what I have to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolen, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling. How long you have been about it. I'm afraid you've had very little experience in how to propose.
My own one. I've never loved any other girl in the world but you.
Yes, but men often propose for practice. I know my brother Gerald does. All my girlfriends tell me so. What wonderfully blue eyes you have, Ernest. They are quite blue. I hope you will always look at me just like that, especially when there are other people present.
Mr. Worthing, rise firm from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous.
Mamma, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing is not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I'm engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are engaged to nobody. When you do become engaged to somebody, your father and I, his health permitting, will tell you of the fact. An engagement should come upon a young girl as a surprise, pleasant or unpleasant as the case may be. She can hardly be expected to arrange it for herself. And now, Mr. Worthing, I have some questions for you. While I make these inquiries, Gwendolen, you may wait below in the carriage.
Mamma!
The carriage, Gwendolen. You can take a seat, Mr. Worthing.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell. I prefer standing.
I feel obliged to tell you, you are not down on my list of eligible young men. I share the same list as the dear Duchess of Bolton. We work together, in fact. However, I'm quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm so glad you do. A man should always have an occupation. There are far too many idle men in London as it is. What age are you?
29.
29. A very good age to be married. I think if a man desires to marry, he should either know everything or nothing. What do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm glad to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. Ignorance is like an exotic fruit. Touch it, and the bloom is gone. The whole theory of modern education is radically unsound. Fortunately, at England, in any rate, education produces no effect whatsoever. If it did, it would probably lead to serious danger, and there would be riots in Grosvenor Square.
I keep a diary in order to enter all the wonderful secrets of my life. If I didn't write them down, I should probably forget all about them.
Memory diary, dear Cecily, is the diary we all carry around with us.
Yes, but it usually chronicles the things that haven't happened and couldn't possibly have happened. I believe that memory is responsible for nearly all the 3-volume novels that Moody sent us.
Do not speak slightingly of the 3-volume novel, Cecily. I wrote one myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? How wonderfully clever you are. I hope it did not end happily. I don't like novels that end happily. They depress me so much.
Well, the good ended happily, and the bad ended unhappily. That is what fiction means.
I suppose so, but it seems very unfair. And was your novel ever published?
Alas, no. It was abandoned. Well, I say that in the way of being lost or mislaid. Back to your work, child. These speculations are profitless.
But I see dear Dr. Chasuble coming up through the garden.
This life is good enough for me, Cousin Cecily.
Yes, but are you good enough for it?
I'm afraid I'm not that. That is why I'd like you to reform me. If you don't mind, Cousin Cecily, you might make it your mission.
I'm afraid I've no time this afternoon.
Well, would you mind my reforming myself?
It's rather quixotic of you, but I think you should try.
I will. I feel better already.
You are looking a little worse.
That is because I'm hungry.
How thoughtless of me. I should have remembered that when one is going to lead an entirely new life, one requires regular and wholesome meals. Won't you come in?
Thank you. May I have a buttonhole first?
A martial meal.
No, I'd sooner have a pink rose.
Why?
Because you are like a pink rose, Cousin Cecily.
I don't think it can be right for you to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me.
Then Miss Prism is a short-sighted old lady. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
Miss Prism says that all good looks are a snare.
A snare that every sensible man would like to be caught in.
I wouldn't care to catch a sensible man. I shouldn't know what to talk to him about.